What is going on, guys? Dayton here, aka Dr. Autoflower, and we are back with another Q&A. And it's been a while, and I know there's been a few people asking for one of these, so we're going to get into it and we're going to talk about some Autoflower stuff. And before we get into it, and if you're new here, make sure you smash the subscribe button down there, hit that like button, and if you have any questions you want to have on the next Autoflower question and answer video, put your questions down in the comment section down below. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video, guys, and get into the questions. So Tony Montana asks, my flowers are very short and there's 1 month left until harvest time, but they are very short. Please help me. What can I do? I'm using Translate. So if you have a month left and your plants are very, very short, I'm guessing it's probably like something like that and has a little bud, and that's all it is. What that means is it has pretty much completely stunted, and it's stunted to the point where most people would just not see a point to even continue growing it. The electricity will probably cost more than what you'll get out of it, depending on how big it is. I can't really see, but yeah, a lot of people will just say just get rid of it if it's fully stunted like that. Definitely go through my older videos, check out some question and answer videos, watch my grow videos, and I show how to properly start autoflowers. You want to start them in bigger pots. The only exception to that is if you're growing them outside. Outside ones you can start in Dixie cups, small Dixie cups, and plant them within 4 days or a week and have very good results. It seems to not be a big deal when you're growing them outside, but indoors they can be stunted easily. And there's quite a few factors why it would get stunted. Usually it's people starting them in smaller pots or in soil that it doesn't really like. I've noticed growing with like cheaper soils, maybe more compact soils, it can really decrease the growth for autoflowers. And when you're growing indoors, I usually recommend not starting them in a smaller pot and then transplanting them to a bigger pot later. It just seems to usually stunt them when they're indoors, but of course there are ways to get around that. But to reiterate, if you only got a month left and your plant's really tiny and stunted, there's just no point of growing it, so I'd say just get rid of it. So Doug asks, I'm growing autos and still unsure when and how many times to defoliate. Been doing it twice before flower, but it seems to slow them down and they don't finish well. Help. Autoflowers, usually, depending on how bushy they get, like if they're crazy bushy and they're covering lots of branches and stuff, then yeah, you may want to do 2 times. But usually it seems like 1 time, 1 decent defoliation is all that autoflowers need. But it all depends on what they actually look like. Sometimes you can have an autoflower that's much more sparse with the leaves, and then some that just look like bushes. So those you got to work on more. But I would worry more about the bottom half and cleaning up all those internodes that are going to produce buds, but they're not going to produce that high quality buds. So I kind of just want to take those all off, so the plant doesn't focus its energy on that and more focus it on the upper half and creating some really nice high quality thick dense buds. So in the beginning I usually go with the technique of leaf tucking, and leaf tucking to the point where you can't leaf tuck no more, and it is just covering your branches and stuff. So that's when I'll start taking off some of the bigger leaves and cleaning up the bottom and stuff, and then maybe once more at like week 4 or 5 I might do a little bit more depending on how it looks. But yeah, usually 1's good enough. But the leaves are like a power generator, you know, it's how it's making its food and stuff. So it is a balance. It's just something you learn with growing them for a long period of time or multiple grows, where you start learning how much you can take off. So you want to take off enough leaf that, you know, it gives enough penetration for the light to get into all the spots, but not so much that you're like, you know, you're taking way too much leaf off and it can't produce enough energy to feed itself. So it is a little bit of a happy medium you got to find. But like I always say, play around with it and experiment it's always good to experiment, and then you kind of learn, from your experiments what works better, what doesn't work as good. So yeah, just go with that, because I'm not sure what strains you're growing, how big they are, how bushy they are. So Chip asks, do you pre-soak Pro Mix before germinating seeds to put in it? Yes. So yes, I do pre-soak my buckets. It's like it's like you don't want to put too much in, but just enough to get everything moist, because it kind of, like for Pro Mix, it kind of activates the little bit of nutrients that's actually in it. So it has like a tiny bit of nutrients, good for seedlings for the first like week or so. But then you also want to have enough moisture in it so the roots just easily grow down, and it's not going to hit no dry pockets in it, and then the roots can't grow any further. Do you have to do the whole thing right away? No, you could also do little by little, and I've seen that done before, where you only water up the first half, and I've seen that before where you only water like the first bit, and then you increase it as the root grows down. That takes a bit more expertise of knowing how far that root's going down, and you could do it that way. But to keep it more simple, a nice pre-soak, not super wet dripping kind of pre-soak, but like just keep it moist. It'll take you a few times to do it, because sometimes you'll go too fast, and then you'll find it all starts draining out the bottom. You want to do it nice and slowly, so it like slowly goes down and gets all the pot nice and wet. And then the plants are good for like a good 10 or 12 days, until the point where you need to start doing your first little feeding. So that technique should get you to the first feeding and full watering. So here's a good question from Tom about outdoor growing. So I've got seedlings in a tent inside a garden shed outside. I live in a pretty far north area, and it still gets pretty cold at night, and I'm wondering if I should be worried about low temperatures at night with upper 30 Fahrenheit. That definitely is a low temperature, and when your autoflowers drop to below, I believe it's below 60 and under, your growth will go slower. So will it really affect it? It kind of depends on the time of year you're planting and stuff, because autoflowers will just go longer outdoors, is what I've learned. If it's a 2-month plant from start to finish, it could be 3 months, it could be 3.5 months till it's actually done outdoors. I do think that is a factor with the drops in temperature. Outdoors, if you're growing like straight into the garden or something like that, like in my last video, like in the outdoor grow that I just put out, those plants were dropping probably pretty low in temperature too, but they definitely went 3 months or so for growth. So it does decrease the growth of it. I think the only way to just get around that is just plant later on in the year, where it's not as cold at night, because too cold, it can really stunt the growth and keep them really small. So I think the best way around that is just to wait till later on, where the nights are warmer, and they should be doing a bit better. And if you're growing in upper 30 Fahrenheit temperatures at night, that means you're susceptible to frost, and you are likely that you could damage the plant, kill the plant before it even starts growing good, and it could do some damage. So there's not much of a point to start plants outdoors when it's that cold. I would just wait until it's a warmer temperature outside at night. So Pickerel Hunter asks, I'm thinking about running some autos in outdoors this summer. I'm in southern Ontario. What do you think about 3-gallon bags, and do you have nutrient regimen you follow? Outdoors, I don't have any specific feeding regimens. I would probably just go organic outdoors. It just seems like a way easier way to do it. I do have a regimen for advanced nutrients, but that's my indoor growing. Outdoor growing is a little bit more trickier, because you don't really know how long those autoflowers are going to grow for, because it's most likely not going to be what it says on the package. If it says 2 months, it could go 3 months, it could go 3.5 months, it could go 4 months. So it's hard to say. So that way, if you go organic, it's a little bit easier. And yeah, I would just go with like Gaia Green, add some additives if you need it, and go from there. So what I did with my auto outdoor grow, no nutrients were given at all. It was just straight into the garden, just given water only, rainwater, and that was it. And they came out pretty damn good. So if you got some decent soil in your garden, you can get some good results. Bag wise, I would most likely go with 5 gallon as the smallest, because outdoors it's going to dry out faster. You kind of just want a bigger root base. So the bigger the better. If you go 10 gallons, then 10 gallons would be even better. It'll give you a much bigger root mass and you'll have better results. Kind of depends on how many you want to do. If you have like 20 you want to do, then having 10-gallon bags is a little more hassle. But if you just want like 4 plants, then I would probably go with the biggest one you can get. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is going on vacation when you're a gardener, or just taking a break, or I've heard from some growers where they won't ever take vacations. They are happily stuck at their house, and they're like, oh no, I can't go do that. I can't go explore the world. I got a garden I got to take care of, and that's their life. But sometimes I think it's completely fine to just stop your garden if it's becoming too stressful for you. If you need a break, if you want to go vacation, if you want to go do stuff, then sometimes you do need to stop gardening. So like me, I kind of just needed a mental health break, stress break from from dealing with it all, and I kind of just stopped for a while. But slowly getting back into it, and I do want to have a grow here in one of these days. But I think we're probably going to be traveling before that, and we're going to do some amazing stuff, show you guys some amazing adventures, and show you gardens around the world. I think that's always been like a dream of mine to do with this channel, to do exploring, to do, go see how other people do grows around the world, and show you guys that, feature it on this channel. And yeah, so sometimes you do have to take a little break, but I think that's good for personal growth. You don't always have to be growing plants. You can work on yourself. But yeah, I think that's it for this video, guys. Hope you like this Q&A. If you have any questions you'd like to have featured in the next one, make sure you throw it in the comment section down below. Make sure you smash that like button. It really helps the channel. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. And until next time, peace out. We'll catch you guys later.